Now, it goes without saying as a freelancer, you have to be talented in the skill that you're selling as a service. But there are three soft skills that you really need to cultivate to make a successful career freelancing. So first of all, it's organization. So particularly if you're an employee and maybe there was a bit of structure given to you in terms of tasks, assignments, or deadlines and timelines, and everything was kind of prescripted for you, and you would go ahead and log in each morning and work your way through that task list. That won't exist as a freelancer. That's on you to put that together. So being organized in terms of your time and your task scheduling, particularly if you're going to have client calls in that as well, and certainly if you're working across multiple projects and clients, which hopefully you will be, the organization of all that work is absolutely crucial in terms of keeping on top of the work and making sure you're delivering an effective and high quality service to your clients. So if you're not a particularly organized person, what you need to be doing is taking advantage of some of the tools that exist to help you with that, whether it's task management tools like Asana, communication tools like Slack, so maybe that you can get some of that information that you need to be able to do the work you need to do. Any framework, the key thing is what works for you. Anything that's too complex or too onerous, the chances are you won't stick with it. So you need to find a tool and a process which is effective. But there's no getting away from the fact if you're not organized, it's very difficult to succeed as a freelancer. The next one, of course, is communication. Now, the chances are you would have had to have good communication skills in your previous role if you were an employee or whatever it was you were doing beforehand. However, there's a slightly different communication required as a freelancer because you're working across all aspects of communication. So you're going right from the initial inquiry to negotiating the sales part of the process to then onboarding the client and then delivering account management and including things like financials as well, where you're asking for payment. So there's lots of different nuances that you need to take on as a freelancer. You may also be collaborating with certain partners or other people within the client's business. So there's communication across different levels and skills. So undoubtedly being a good communicator is a crucial soft skill for your freelance success. And again, if this isn't an area you're particularly strong in, there are ways you can do to train that in terms of taking up some courses or advice from coaches in the space. One of the best ways for me is just to keep doing it again and again and again. The crucial thing about that is to reflect on interactions you've had post meeting, post call, etc., whatever it might be, to then sit down and actually think what went well during that call, what went well during that meeting, what perhaps could have gone better. That's the way you're going to iterate and learn. So it's a combination of just putting yourself in those scenarios again and again where you're going to have to be communicating, which you will have to do as a freelancer, but then also reflecting on how those communications went and what you can do to improve. And over time, you'll develop this very natural and innate way. And that's a key point as well, is that don't try and force communication, which doesn't fix your natural inclination in terms of your personality and your strengths. So if you're a very deep thinker and you analyze things well, then you can obviously align your communications to show that and get that across by presenting some data with some really deep thought out insights. Perhaps you're less of a talker and more of a really good listener, an active listener. The beauty of that is that you can get that across in your communications by saying back to the client on a call some of the key points that they've made or following up with an email. It shows that you've really listened and the clients will really value that. So it's adapting your communication style to fit your natural strengths, as I say. And then finally, it's discipline as well. So this is one of the challenges I sometimes see when new freelancers first start their freelancing career, is that, obviously, again, they've maybe had the structure in an employed environment of, having to work at a certain time, whether that's going into the office or logging in online and checking in with their manager, whatever it might be. Again, all of that goes away. It's on you to work through the time of the day that you need to deliver the services that you're providing. So without the discipline, it's very easy to kind of slip a little bit and let some of those mornings drift and do some other things which potentially aren't helping your direct work. And also with deadlines, again, clients are going to want to see you hitting deadlines. And the only way you can do about that is by setting those for yourself as self-imposed deadlines on tasks and stuff. So you really need to have a process again for managing and monitoring these that are going to work for you. Now, it might not mean working traditional hours of 9 to 5. And this is one of the beauties of freelancing, particularly if you perform better maybe you're particularly in the early mornings, or maybe you work through the evenings, a bit of a night owl, you can actually change your working hours. That's absolutely fine. The key thing is having the discipline and consistency to make sure that you're not going off and doing things that are unproductive, that you're being very focused and scheduled and putting your head down to deliver the services that you're providing for your clients. And that consistency will then start to become a pattern and a habit. And over time, it will be a very nice process. But particularly in the early stages, I've seen people struggle with this, from going employed to freelance, and really struggling with the discipline. And what will happen then is that deadlines will slip. Obviously, you will potentially miss deadlines for clients. That can give some credibility issues in terms of getting testimonials and case studies and losing business. So really, really crucial part. So just to recap, it's organization skills, communication, and discipline. If you have those 3 soft skills and work on them, they're really going to underpin your freelancing career and set you up for success.